This is Call of Duty Black Ops. We're here on Xbox Series S diving into this original and iconic entry within the Black Ops franchise. And yes, I know World at War is technically a predecessor, but come on, let's just go with it here. It is the first one called Black Ops. So on the Series S, what are we getting? It's like 600p, 60 FPS with Auto HDR support. So yeah, it does, kind of look a little rough around the edges here or there, but it still has that iconic gameplay that is fantastic, whether you're playing the multiplayer, doing a little bit of zombies, or anything in between. This game is still a lot of fun and still really great for it, and known for its sort of signature, sort of gritty style, the time periods that it presents, and the epic, intense action that is in display here as you move across the different levels, facing off in unique scenarios as you battle to kind of deal with this mysterious Nova issue. And yeah, it's just kind of generally a really great experience that offers a lot of fun. The campaign levels are quite linear in design, but they still feature some really intense and large in-scope spaces that at the time were really quite impressive. At least, I kind of felt so. And you get to use a range of weapons in different scenarios, and you get to face off across a variety of different scenes, and kind of to a degree, I wouldn't say eras, but different periods of time and different biomes. Like, we're doing a bit of a snow battle here, but there's like jungle areas, there's a great intense jail escape, there's secret facilities. There's all kinds of different places you'll end up battling and dealing with as you continue your journey along the way. There are, of course, different difficulty options, with Veteran being quite a challenge, and one that glitched for me, so I didn't actually finish 2 levels technically, I guess. So that was fantastic. It was the game that actually made me stop doing hardcore difficulties in games, which is kind of funny. So yeah, this one definitely holds strong. Yeah, like I said, it's quite linear. You're basically going, kind of area to area, eliminating the different foes, and, enjoying these intense, large-scale, cinematic-based moments that are driven by lots of action and crazy over-the-top gameplay. Ooh, we've got mortar strikes coming in. And yeah, I think gameplay-wise, it does actually hold quite strong. Oh, the barrels. I thought I had, artillery strike myself, and I was like, what? Oh, and it all loads, basically instantly fast now, and you can, skip, basically cutscenes and stuff if you'd like to. Some of them a lot quicker than you could in the past, because they usually use those for loading. Whereas now it's a lot easier to do that kind of stuff. And it's still, to me, it still looks good, for what it is. Obviously, it's quite, visually it's rough around the edges, but I still kind of like the aesthetic of this one. I am hoping at some point we do get some sort of improvement to the quality of this experience, because, if we sharpen this up, this would actually be a really, really good looking game. I mean, I think the charm continues to shine through, but it's going to differ based on folks that go in and play it. And I believe, I don't know if that's there, there should be intel type things you can find or whatever on the maps and stuff, and that's always fun. There's just a lot to do in this campaign, a lot to see. Some really great characters are present here, some really, interesting characters that have lots of different conflict going on in regards to what's happening to them. You get asked about the numbers, you get to visit some really, really cool set pieces like I mentioned, and you get to also find out what the numbers mean. Mason, the numbers, what do they mean? That to me is always kind of fun and entertaining. I just find that to be an intriguing part of this game. Really is the story aspect of it. Just seeing the different characters kind of dealing with the scenarios at play, I always thought that was kind of cool. And yeah, it's just a really great single-player story. I think it offers a lot, no survivors. And I think you'll find that it's got some really intriguing moments to it, whether you are enjoying them from a narrative kind of perspective, or, from the combat of you blasting through areas, taking on different enemies, and trying to continue your quest to eliminate the foes that get in your way, whether you're doing so in stealthy scenarios or more true combat ones. But let's switch over to the multiplayer. So this is the multiplayer aspect of the experience. We're just playing the combat training with the bots here. I wasn't able to find a match at the time of filming, but you can actually find lobbies of this. Seriously, you can actually, matchmake with others. I've done live streams, you can see them on the channel, of, kind of competing with other real players and actually having full matches. So that does exist. So anyways, the multiplayer component of this had the evolved prestige system. It had more kill streak options. It had more class customization. It had a range of weapons from some different eras, and it was generally quite a neat experience. A really cool part of it were wager matches, where they were like these fun party games where you could do things like, I don't know, throwing tomahawks or doing the gun game or stuff like that. And then wagering the in-game currency, which is what was used to unlock things, and that was a big component of it. It was actually a pretty cool little side part of the game that a lot of people liked, and we actually, friends and I spent a lot of time playing that, so it was pretty cool. And yeah, there was also the regular options. You got your team deathmatch, which is the most popular mode these days. There was hardcore stuff. Search and destroy. It had your typical classic Call of Duty multiplayer options. There were a massive amount of maps within this game. It actually got some of the most impressive DLC content, I think, of any of the Call of Duties. There was a specific even pack that did zombies, added classic zombies to it, and stuff like the moon. But you look at the multiplayer, I think there was something like 10, there was more maps, I believe, added as part of DLC than there was in the core game. So you got a huge range of different levels, some of them even iconic today, these levels that were added. So you just got a great range here, which I thought was fantastic. Oh, you can customize your character a little bit. Your soldier could get a tad bit of customization to them in order to change how they looked, and again that all fed into the sort of, I guess you would say, money type system that was in the game. And yeah, you had a lot of different custom classes, a lot of different ways to battle. It was just a very enjoyable experience. Why do I have this? Oh, I guess my regular classes don't don't carry over, because I was gonna be oh, here's the FAMAS and stuff, but nope. And there was lots of camos to work towards, different weapons. It was an experience that was quite expansive, allowed you to customize your tools to a degree, lots of different kind of weapons. And this was before things started getting really large in scale, if that makes sense. There was a point in COD where they were still kind of down to basics and experimenting and doing new things. This was one of those Call of Duties where they were still kind of oh, let's see if we add this or add this and see how that changes the game. And yeah, I think it actually worked out pretty well here. I think they offered a very expansive multiplayer that I enjoyed quite a bit of. I think well, it doesn't show here, but I was 7th prestige. I think actually through playing, doing the odd stream here or there, I might actually end up becoming 8th prestige, which is interesting all these years later. But yeah, it was actually a pretty cool sort of gritty, intense multiplayer experience that offered many different ways to battle and fight across a unique selection of maps and environments. It was, I think, quite well loved for its time. I think a lot of people enjoyed what this had to offer. It's cool that you can still always come back to this one, and even if you can't necessarily find people online, which again you can on the odd occasion, there are the actual bot matches here, so you can at least get a taste for what it used to be with a few different options for competing gameplay wise. You can do some hardcore deathmatch and stuff like that, regular deathmatch. So I think it covers the basis quite well for this one. And I think we should switch over to another multiplayer level to show something else off here. So instead of just showing one map, I thought we might as well at least show two of them. Like I said, I do have streams up on the channel if you do want to relive the nostalgia of actually competing against others, which does happen at very specific times of the day. But outside of that, you know, you can at least get a look at these two maps. This in itself is a, well, you know, kind of remake and or port of a map from World at War. They've just turned it into a golf course, which is kind of entertaining because it was like a gritty cliffside. Now it's, you know, like a watered golfing course, which I actually kind of get a kick out of. But yeah, another very classic map. And that's the thing, is this multiplayer here just offered a huge range of levels that so many of them, I would say, you know, the Black Ops franchise is still coasting off of to this day. You know, they've kind of just keep bringing back these maps over and over again because folks really like them from this time, and new folks are like, oh wow, this is a great level, and it's like, yep. We should know, we played a lot of matches really intensely back in the day. This map was really good for search and destroy as well. I have so many memories of like really tense matches. Not all of them in this one necessarily, but playing in like World at War, there was some tense search and destroy action on this one, which was always cool. But yeah, it's just kind of a really good multiplayer. I think you'll have a lot of fun with it. Oh look, there's Dumbest Clock, huh? And yeah, it's still actually like a pretty good, at least to me, multiplayer experience all of these years later. It's continuing to be something that's fun, gives a little bit of a challenge as well. Really, you went into Last Stand, killing me, this AI. And don't forget the dolphin dive, purely iconic. But yeah, it runs perfectly smooth, which is nice. It looks quite jagged, but you know, to me it's still got that charm, just like when I was talking about the campaign. I actually think the multiplayer stuff sometimes looks even a little bit more jagged than the single player stuff does, probably because they were scaling it for different platforms back in the day, which makes sense. Wow, these bots are kind of ruthless, but let's switch over to the zombies mode and show a bit of that off. Here's the zombies mode, so we did actually find some players here to play with. So that's great. One of them's just chilling out. But anyways, the zombies here is fantastic. It's got like the best zombies map ever, Kino der Toten, which we're playing here. But there's also a host of really great DLC maps that made this experience fantastic. Ascension. Call of the Dead's really good, except for the creepy guy that follows you around and annoys you. You know, good Romero there. But yeah, and the Shangri-La, the very tight, hardcore corridors that are present there. And then we've got like really great returning maps, you know, from the traditional zombies. We've got basically Shi No Numa, Under Toten, and Doris are the original zombies maps that are also present in this, if you got the DLC. And then there's the moon, where you go to the moon, which is very hardcore to deal with. That's when things started getting a little bit more convoluted for zombies, but it's got what I would say is the single best zombies experience in all of Call of Duty history. It never got better from this point onwards. Anyways, it's great. The zombies is fantastic. And there's so many different weapons as you try to survive, find the mystery box, try to, you know, get scores. There are some Easter egg-esque things you can do to work towards in regards to like story stuff, but most of it was just survival. It was trying to actually just survive. And I loved that version of zombies, where there wasn't some sort of weird, overly convoluted thing that you needed to do. You just played the zombies and you just tried to live as long as you could. That was the fun of zombies for me back in the day. And again, I don't think it's ever quite hit that mark since then. There's also different perks that you can get. Pack-a-Punch, which is pretty cool. Traps, other weapons, and other stuff like that that you could enjoy as you play. And then there was also a late edition, which included Mule Kick to get a different extra weapon, which was nice. They just offered a lot of different ways for you to play and battle and take on the zombies. And of course, hidden secrets, great characters, all kinds of really, really cool things in what was ultimately such a great zombies package, which is also why I'm dedicating so much time to it. A, because, you know, we weren't able to find regular multiplayer matches, but B, because the zombies in this is so phenomenal. It is just great. Like, I absolutely loved it. So I do, you know, heavily suggest diving in and playing the zombies if you are taking a look at this game, because, yeah, no, it's a great time. And you can, it seems most of the time, you can always find a match of at least Kino der Toten. You know, some of the other maps, DLC particularly, it can be harder to find matches, but, you know, for this zombies, it seems like you can always find this one. There's also the Dead Ops Arcade, which is a very different take on zombies. It's like a twin-stick shooter of sorts. I'm not necessarily huge on that one, but I like all of the other zombie stuff, which is kind of neat.
Hey, look! It's nobody!
Yeah. So there's so many different, like, surprises and things that you can come across, and weird scenarios you can have, but there's lots of strategies, too. Kind of weird segue, but yep. And there's so many different ways you can approach the combat and the zombies action here. I think that's also maybe what is so enticing, is going back and just being like, okay, let's do this time, or let's see if this works. I mean, we have most of our fine-tuned strategies at this point, I would say, but it's always fun to try something a little bit different in this one and see how it goes. And, you know, I've always gone to decent, like, level breaches and stuff as well. You know, I've always felt that I've been decently good at this and enjoyed what it has to offer. So yeah, that's kind of just a good chat about the zombies. And I think overall, you can just have a very fun time sitting here, battling the undead, playing the campaign and discovering what the numbers mean, or competing in the multiplayer if you're lucky to find players online. You know, it is an aged Call of Duty experience, but it's one that still has a good sense of charm and delight and challenge to it. One that I continue to think of as being something I want to go back and play year after year after year. And I think that kind of tells you something about this one, what it offers, what it provides. It's just such a fun, good, challenging game that, you know, I even have friends that come in and we go and we do like zombies nights every once in a while. We do multiplayer from time to time. You know, it's a really, really great game. It's a great package. It's actually great even just for the single player action in this one. Like, the campaign is phenomenal, discovering, you know, about the numbers and the hidden weird secrets around the Nova and trying to put a stop to this, you know, while also kind of dealing with these, you know, kind of almost dream-esque sequences where it's like, what is happening? What is going on, you know? That was always engaging. For me, was just like the craziness around these characters, you know? That was always very, very intriguing. And they play around with, like, the different, again, time zones quite well in that game, and I think it does keep you guessing a little bit, which is nice. Oh, and there's power-ups and stuff, if you didn't know. Trying to cover everything. There is a lot to this, and I think the dogs are going to be coming in a sec here. They should be. Round 6 is pretty late for them to, No, still no dogs. Wow, we're going to have like a round 7 dog appearance. It's a little crazy to me. Usually the dogs come out, so we'll show off a little bit more of the map and stuff. But yeah, it's just continue to be a really, really great game that I always heavily suggest to folks, because I think this is one that they can just get a lot of quality out of. You know, I think, for me, it holds up well, feels good to play, it's got that iconic Call of Duty style. It is an upgrade over the Call of Duty games that came prior. I think it holds its place as one of the best, if not like the best, of the Black Ops series and the overall Call of Duty franchise in general. This one definitely delivered. Oh, I am so going to die. That's a little embarrassing. I went a little too ambitious there, I guess, with the doors. I wasn't paying attention, talking in my own little thoughts here and stuff like that, as the rest of the team is probably way off in the distance dealing with stuff. You get downed, you can get revived. You can play the solo too, and you can get different, like, perks and stuff to help you out. It looks like my team is actually making an effort to come in and give me a revival, which is pretty cool. But yeah, this is Black Ops.